everyone, and welcome to the Founders Corner. This is Karen Ballou. For those of you who I've met, and maybe those that I haven't met yet, I'm doing a series of conversations with different people in the wellness community. And today I have Patricia Ladis with us, who is an amazing woman, I have to say, in wellness, but she comes from, I want to say, a history of working with many celebrities, many athletes as well, in the area of physical therapy. But beyond that, she's also been an incredible advocate for pregnancy. And that particular part, for all of us listening, I mean, those who have had children or those who have not had children yet, or those who have been participating with those who have had children, this is a story and an important message that we're going to talk about today with what Patricia has been doing, not only in her physical therapy work, but also in working with the pregnancy and what's happening within our bodies before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and after pregnancy. So, welcome, Patricia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
I know, isn't it? It's like we're here. I know this has been a long time waiting, and I'm just so thrilled to share with everyone your new book that you've come out with. So let me first.
It is truly a labor
I'll
of
have to show
love.
this first. I didn't say that yet, but I have to show this book because we're going to be talking about this book today. And this is about wise women. And I want to hear not only about the book, but I also want to hear about how we got to Wise Women as a title and wellness. So we have so much to talk about here, and also how we met. So, but first of all, welcome. And let's tell us a little bit about yourself so we can sort of start there.
As Karen mentioned, my name is Patricia Ladis. I'm a physical therapist, and I used to be a professional dancer. So my love of investigating the body, getting to beautiful movement, feeling good in my body, exercising, and really also watching people through injury, right? We were a very injury-stricken population, and having the ability to see this transformation going from pain to complete healing, right? Mm-hmm. Or something that was stubborn, that never really went away. Why, And so it really sparked my interest. But I went to high school at the Performing Arts High School in New York City by Lincoln Center. And in order to fulfill my dance major, I actually had to take anatomy and physiology. And then I learned even more how the muscles, the body, the joints and the ligaments. And it was fascinating. So I went to physical therapy school because I had immigrant parents. So once I, got in the newspaper, made it in the dance world, got, my professional years under my belt, they were like, okay, now what are you doing?
Well, and also I have to say to everyone here, you are an amazing dancer. I mean, absolutely, everyone. She is amazing. So going from dancing to physical therapy, she still has to get that dancing now. So I've had a great opportunity to see.
Yeah, we should start. We're going to start a dance series. So basically, that really, but those years from 4 years old that I've been dancing really trained me in feeling different things and connecting with my body on multiple levels. And so generally speaking, then I went to physical therapy school. And of course, I went out and I helped dancers, right? The first thing I did was I was on Broadway, helping the Broadway performers, from actors to dancers to the musicians to the stagehands, and everybody that made a production happen. Some movies, ballet companies, modern dance companies, touring companies. And we also did prevention. So before I go out and I do this new performance with this 50-pound thing on my head and, 8 shows a week and we had to be able to, rise to the occasion and really get that body to be able to tolerate the various loads that different performances, that repetition and all of that. So it was really wonderful and very, very rewarding. Actually, from the start of starting our injury prevention and treatment, pre-injury treatment, we were able to decrease injuries in the Rockettes by 85% in one season. So then I realized how much wellness matters, right? Because if we're really, it's a big deal.
Well, and the thing here is that I want to use the word walk the talk the walk, because you experience your body going through such, I mean, let's just say not just exercise, but movement, right?
Yes.
But in that movement, it taught you a lot. So when you did go to PT school, right, it really helped you understand because you had those movements there,
Right.
and you knew the kind of pain that you went through in different movements. So you really can get in there and work with individuals who have, you know, even athletes, like I mentioned earlier, athletes, right? Not just dancers, but people in all walks of life that end up with these issues,
Exactly.
right?
So when you're dealing with a population that their instrument, their livelihood is their body, you have to get it to a very pristine function. And so that right out of school, I had to know my stuff, get to know my stuff, and like go to
Wow.
classes and really continue my education, which is something that I have a very big thirst for. I am a very big nerd when it comes to science. But so what ended up happening was all of a sudden, the women that wanted to start families were not retiring. They were like, you know what? I want to do both. And why not? So
Right.
now all of a sudden we had this population of women that wanted to, they were on Broadway or they were in a dance company. And then they were like, I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to get pregnant. I'm going to have my baby. And then I want to come back. Where that was unheard of prior. So this is 1999. I mean, I feel like an old lady now. But anyway, so then that changed, right? And
So was this like
so
a light bulb moment for you as this was sort of transitioning?
well, no one was there in the dance world that
Yeah.
was actually owning that space and supporting or ready to support that transition. Everybody was like, I kind of don't know. So then I was put on the task because it was an interest of mine. I have, like I said, immigrant parents, and I've heard about the wellness side of things and kind of like they grew up on a farm and what are you supposed to, how do you pair food? What do you do when you're pregnant? What do you do when you're not pregnant? It's just something that was inherently passed down for generations. And so, it was an interest of mine. So I
Well,
took a lot of courses in it. I actually educated myself because I said, I'm dealing with high level, pristine dancers and athletes. I have to know what I'm doing. And so I really studied it hard and got the chance to work with some really amazing people and get them back. And sometimes better than before. Those pesky injuries, we were able to like change the whole body when the collagen changes in their body and like for the better. And so it was very, very rewarding. And it was a wonderful time for me.
well,
But
go ahead.
yeah, but I was just going to say then my own evolution, obviously my big specialty is in biomechanics and really investigating the body, getting to the root cause of why someone's in pain or why something's not working for them. And what was interesting was that I then go and have 3 pregnancies.
I know that's where I was going. You
Yeah.
actually, I was going to say, you know what? Not only walk the talk the walk, but then you're having had 3 pregnancies also
Right.
taught you so much,
It
right?
did. And I've had a very unique experience in that I've had all 3 births. And what are
Like
all 3
2 boys,
births?
1 girl.
Right.
Right?
And I had a vaginal birth without even a Tylenol. I just did it completely natural.
Amazing.
I wanted to feel what was happening in my body. I wanted to experience it. Then I
Some
had a
women won't want to do that, but
and
some
he was
will.
9 pounds. So, there we go. That's where my mother said, Cyrili is Spartan. and then we had, I had a C-section. My son came early. My water broke spontaneously as I was expanding my office, a lot of the stuff I was doing at the time. And he was healthy, 6 pounds, but a month early. And I had an emergency C-section. Then because his heart rate, it was, so I
Yeah.
had a little bit of a emergency, and I experienced that and can speak to that. And then I had a vaginal birth after cesarean 4 years later, and that was where my daughter came along. So
The joy, right? Oh my gosh. And she's a
yeah.
dancer now.
Oh yeah, she's dancing, like it or not, until she tells me no, I don't like it. At least expose them, right?
Right.
But the last thing I was going to say about my journey is that I ended up because of the way that I look at the body in that biomechanical sense, I got pulled in from one of my colleagues that was the chief medical officer for the US Open into the tennis world. And so then all of a sudden I transitioned and became one of the therapists that was helping players that were having problems, not the usual like day-to-day stuff. I wasn't working the locker room that way. I was the one that they would bring in that needed more time. Because as you know, in New York, Grand Slam, a lot going on, a lot of people, a lot of stuff. And I was the one that if somebody needed some extra time, some focus time, some investigatory kind of stuff. I've been having this problem for over 2 years. What's going on? That kind of thing. And then guess what? Now we have tennis players that are coming back after pregnancy. So here we go again, it was always pulling me in, And so we had 4 moms in the quarterfinals of the US Open this year in 2020.
That's amazing.
Which is crazy and wonderful.
Wow.
Winning Olympic golds, getting back to, winning Grand Slams. I mean, Kim Clijsters did it years ago. So there's really, I'm here to tell everybody that's watching is that the sky is the limit when it comes to what you can do after pregnancy. And it's not like your body's doomed, like you're, oh my goodness, I'm gonna, look horrible, or I'm going to be always peeing. These things are just not, we have to change the narrative, I think, and really empower women. And that's why I put myself on the cover with Lois Greenfield's lovely, lovely photograph, which is her, her specialty there. And I just did a little bit of jumping, and it was 3 days before my due date. Not that I want people to be jumping when they're pregnant, but I did right when I was ready to give birth. So it wasn't going to be a big deal. And obviously I'm trained in dance and being able to jump. So that was easy. Not so easy. I mean, it was like, I felt like a ton of bricks. I felt, ooh, like my normal light self. And now I have this huge sack of potatoes. It was just not easy. But I ended up, funny tidbit, I ended up giving birth 3 days later on her birthday, the photographer's birthday. And he was a healthy 9-pounder, very happy boy. Wow. And I don't recommend jumping, but it's giving you the lightness. It's giving you that feeling that it is a joyful time.
But I know when you think about this picture, right, and movement, who knew it was really going to be on the cover of your book?
I had no idea. No idea.
I mean,
but and what happened was I'm, friendly with Lois Greenfield because I was such a fan as a dancer and her gorgeous work. And she's been on ads all over the place. And she really is one of the first people to capture dancers in flight. And she did it at a time where the technology wasn't that easy. So she's very innovative. And so anyway, so we were colleagues, and I said to her, I never took pictures. I'm here pregnant. I didn't break out. I didn't gain that much weight. I felt good. I have a big baby for sure, but I didn't, and she said, you know what? We need to take some pictures. And then I was like, but I'm due like next week. She's like, who cares? Let's do it at the beginning of the week. I'll squeeze you in. And we did it. And wow. I really thank her for pushing me to do that. And I thank her for her time in squeezing me in and for the whole thing that happened. Yeah. Well, it's crazy.
Again, not knowing that you were going to have a book at that time.
No.
And to know that you now have this amazing book out. And, I want to take us back for a couple of things here. When we met several years ago, we met through Global Wellness. And Global Wellness it's a really amazing organization because it is global. And it's something that I think not many even know about that out there. So as we introduce Global Wellness, it really is, I want to say, not only is a research division of what's going on in wellness, but it's also what I call initiative, where it brings together all forms of wellness so that we can be sort of the thought leaders in wellness and bring that information to the world, right? Exactly. And so that was amazing when we got a chance to meet each other. I want to say that, when you do belong to an organization, and it's not that large of an organization, but about 600 maybe people, right?
International delegates, yeah.
Yeah, international delegates and thought leaders like that. But, it's so fun to know that you go to one of these things and you go, wait a minute, you have an office where? Wait a minute, you go by my apartment like every day? we became fast friends, right? And we had to go somewhere across the world to find each other.
Which was crazy. Yeah, we're like in Mexico City, but yet I walk by your apartment to go home every day. And New Yorkers, I say all good things come out of Brooklyn, right? And there's so many people that you could trace back their roots somehow to New York. So I'm just like, I'm always waiting for it, but this was a little too close for comfort. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
It really was. So it's been just our friendship and getting to know each other. And what really was, I want to say, it really hit my heart so much when we got chatting about your story, and I got to share my story with you. And all of a sudden, that's another part of why we're here today, because
Yes.
our stories really actually intersect. And the fact that no, I'm not PT, and no, I'm not the dancer, but I'm on the other side where I've been the esthetician, I've been an educator in the aesthetic world, and then also have a massage video teaching
Right.
parents how to massage their babies. So that side of it, and I just want to say for everyone, of course we couldn't stop talking. It was like, wow, and wow. So this is our opportunity to really share a lot of this information for, as I mentioned earlier, for moms, whether it be that you're thinking about being a mom, whether you're helping a mom, whether you're pregnant, going to get pregnant, or you're post pregnancy. And so I really want everyone to really understand what the Wise Woman Guide is, because I think this
Sure.
is really important to where we're going and where the future is in wellness, right? And
Totally.
that's why with global wellness, that has taught us a lot of how we can help others. So let's talk
Exactly.
about that.
I was very inspired to, you know, get this all down on paper because I was in the clinic day after day treating patients, regular patients that were just from all walks of life and all sorts of ages. And then there was the pregnancy population that was coming to me, whether it was I have this hip problem and I want to get pregnant and I want to be able to like deliver the baby and carry the baby through. I have this back pain and I want to prevent, right? So that's one bucket. And then there's the people who now I'm in pain and I'm pregnant and I'm having issues and I need help. Then, and you don't want to do anything but, more conservative treatment, right? And you're not going to go get injections and all sorts of things, to help your back when your back is out. You're going to be going for physical therapy. And then there's the postpartum.
Mhm.
Now something happened with my birth. I have a pelvic floor issue. I have a diastasis, I have an overstretched abdominal wall. I have whatever, neck problems that have never ceased or whatever. So I was on that continuum of helping these women. And then they would say to me,
Mhm.
45 minutes to an hour. So they would ask me the questions. Why? Because with their OB, there may be like 7 minutes. It's a quick, like, let me check the fetal heart rate. Okay, let me just do this
You're
and do
fine.
this and out. And that's just the way that our healthcare system is. So I was the one that they trusted because I was getting them out of pain. I was supporting them. I was their cheerleader, telling them that everything's going to be okay. And of course, we always made it okay. And the people that I couldn't make okay, I gave them the resources to get okay, right?
Yes.
And the thing that they would say to me is, I'm so frustrated because, this book is telling me that this is going to happen and now I'm scared. And then they'd come in and they'd be like, oh, I made it another week.
Yeah, I
I
know.
said, what is going on? And we know from the research, right? And that's
Yep.
where, my work with Dr. Pecorelli and also the amazing researchers and functional medicine physicians that have been part of my network for the past 22 years, you know, is knowing that a woman needs to feel supported, that they need to not feel fear, that
Yeah.
they need to be given positive information and happy things. And so everything in the book, you get a lot of information, but there are certain books out there that really promote fear,
Yeah.
like, oh, if you're over 35, the statistical, you're basically going to get, diabetes and you're going to have preeclampsia and you're going to end up in bed rest and your baby's going to be underweight. I mean, these are not the things that we want to hear.
No. You know, and Patricia, I have 4 kids, right? As you know,
Yes, yes.
and
Mom
3 boys,
extraordinaire.
one girl, 3 boys, 1 girl. You have the 2 boys and the 1 girl. We got our girl. We got our girl.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, I wish, and I say this to everyone out there that's going to get pregnant, is pregnant. This is such an important story to hear. This book is going to be incredible. I wish I had this book. And I know you wish you had the book too then. But
Totally.
the thing is, it's not been done like this. This guide has not been put out in the market. And I know you've done your homework to find a guide that you could actually use, even to suggest to women who are going through these things. And I know it was very difficult for you. But I personally wish that I'd had this, because people would give me books about the baby and about this. Every birth, as you know, is different.
Correct.
The way that you feel is different than the way she feels. But what doesn't change is pregnancy, body is body, delivery is delivery. So how you get through all of that, there are certain techniques and in ways to actually get through that. And I think that's what everyone needs to hear about today. And
Yeah.
with this, well, with this guide for wise women. And by the way, tell us how you got to wise women.
Okay, so the wise woman is basically because there is a wisdom chapter. So every single section from preconception, every single trimester, every part of the first 40 days, the postpartum, you're dealing with nutrition, you're dealing with your body. And Dr. Sadati is the functional medicine OBGYN that's kind of like from the doctor's corner. Yeah. And so basically you're dealing with, you know, addressing all the lifestyle aspects that make a
Yeah,
difference in
pictures.
your life. Yes. And then
You
there's
can
like
show
things to
pictures.
do and exercises. So one of the things I didn't mention was the fact that I am also a behavioral breathing analyst. And
Yes.
so I actually do capnography where I actually, people put in a nasal cannula and I measure all sorts of stuff to figure out what their chemical axis is like. And these are things that, 100% of pregnant women have a breathing dysfunction because they cannot access their diaphragm. When you can't access your diaphragm, you can't breathe as efficiently as possible. Now, that being said, you can compensate to the best of your ability to still not have symptoms like nausea, memory loss, brain fog, anxiety, dizziness, and all sorts of other mild symptoms that you may have. And you say, I'm pregnant,
Yeah.
I've got mommy brain. Like, well, actually, it's probably because you're not breathing efficiently. So there are distinct, like, given exercises that you can do
You have
in
the
the
whole
book
chapter.
that
Yeah.
you literally each and every way. But there's also a wisdom chapter. And that wisdom is what was the kind of, guiding force towards the title, because ultimately we all are wise. And it's not me, the wise woman, it's you, the wise woman.
I
And
love
the best for you, because my type of physical therapy is not one size fits all. Oh, you have a herniated disc, you do these exercises that many times, da da da. No way. You might have a foot problem that I have to treat to help your back. You might have a back problem I have to treat to help your back. You might have a hip issue. Might have a neck issue. You might have a thorax issue. There is no one size fits all. And so this is a guideline for everything you can do to amplify your chances to feel good, to look good, and to have a healthier chance, a better chance of having a healthier baby.
Right.
What should your partner do? What should you do? And literally that wisdom is also woven throughout, which is kind of the fun part that I always have to put in fun parts, because I'm like, always running around like a lunatic, 10,000 things going on in my life. And so I know that it's like, it's hard to like constantly listen to and read the same, so little bits of like, oh, you know what? In, South America, all these women do this.
Yeah.
In Asia, in Japan, these women do this. And in, India, they do that. And in the Jewish culture, they do that. And like just all sorts of cultural wisdom.
Oh, I love it.
Passed down from generation. Why? Because women were wise and are wise. And there we've lost that communication. And now we have a situation where we're all linked up and all this stuff, but there's so much noise in the thing, and nobody's really sticking to the science. No one's really actually going back and saying, what one of those little things that we used to do actually made a difference? We didn't have postpartum depression rates like we have today.
Yeah.
It's 7 out of 10 women have a perinatal mood disorder. I mean, we need help. Yeah. So this is a way to try to amplify and get back to wellness. And obviously my physical therapy hat, my breathing analysis hat, as well as Dr. Sadati's functional medicine OBGYN hat are all in there, as well as the expert in this area.
Yes.
I've quoted the expert in that area, and the scientists that I actually know, because I feel very, very blessed for the people who are in my network, having been in Global Wellness Summit, having been in various communities around the world.
So talk to us about the first 1,000 days of wellness, the first 1,000 days of wellness. And also Dr. Pecorelli, who I've had the great honor to meet as well. I want everyone to hear about that, because I think that ties us in really nicely.
Absolutely.
To your book.
So basically, Alina Hernandez introduced me to Dr. Sergio Pecorelli as he was really doing amazing work under the first 1,000 days.
Yeah, she's
And so the first
amazing.
1,000 days is basically the period thought of throughout pregnancy and the first 2 years of life. And what Dr. Pecorelli did was he actually revamped that. And he said, you know what? We actually have to start during preconception, right before we conceive. And that's where we can really start to make a big change. But he's in academia, he's an amazing researcher, and just is a pioneer and the best out there.
Love meeting
Yeah.
him.
And Dr. Pecorelli has really been such an inspiration for me, and his work is included in the book. And you get the pearls of wisdom of the various research that's out there, and he's curated that. But what Dr. Pecorelli did is he brought the wellness community into the medical side and have, educated. So together, the three of us have formed First 1,000 Days of Wellness.
Yes.
And it really is a platform to educate consumers and the public. It's also to educate practitioners. So we've done many practitioners trainings, getting people that are working with pregnant women pre, post, and during, to really, be armed with the knowledge of what this beautiful body of knowledge can do to really amplify, because we're all share the passion of trying to prevent chronic illness.
Yeah.
In the US, in the 1960s, we had like 4% of children that had chronic illness. Today,
I'm so afraid to hear the statistic now.
It's close to 54% of children that have a chronic illness.
Well,
we are not going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's another driving force. So not only did my patients say, can you just, like, all this stuff I learned from you, can you just put it in a book, and I want to share it with my friends, and it just will make it so much easier. But then it was also all this other body of knowledge and this push for really trying to stop the hurt, because so many women are dealing with their kids that have all sorts of various things. I mean, when did we ever think in humanity that you could eat a food and literally die?
Yeah.
This is the reality, and that's not okay. And we can actually start to prevent this. It's not like cross your fingers and just hope that you're not one of these cases. Actually, you can make a difference.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Pecorelli has a lot of the research, has been pushing this in the medical world, and now has brought it to the wellness world. And we're trying to bring it into spa. We're trying to bring it into spa.
Yeah.
But his main hat is really pushing preconception.
And he also talks about, and you talk about this, and I talk about it as well, is disease is also about inflammation.
Yes, exactly.
And so we really have to talk a little bit more about that, because I think that's a beginning steps of really what you feel most passionate about, of how we can really mind, body, soul, really look at this inflammation as one of the deadliest parts of our life, right? Because
exactly. I mean, ultimately what we're looking, when someone, even with COVID, someone who is not inflamed, has really diverse gut microbiome, okay, and has amazing microbes in their body, and is not inflamed, or is less inflamed. It's very hard to be zero in this environment. But generally speaking, if you are low on your inflammatory markers, you're going to actually do really well. And so the most important time to reduce inflammation is in preconception. And that is one of the reasons why we love immunocology, is because immunocology is really trying to reduce the inflammation in the skin, but also doing it with a French clay that's mineralized, that's actually treating and helping amplify the health and the immune system of the skin. And so that is a very big deal, because, as a therapist, as a physical therapist, I'm trying to reduce inflammation in the body, get you over the inflammation of that injury and whatever. But as a person working with a pregnant population, I'm looking to reduce your toxic load. So how are we able in preconception to clean out your medicine cabinet, clean out your skincare, and what you're putting on your body? What is your body absorbing? What are you eating? And one of the things that you can do is really analyze what you are putting on your skin and see if you can make a change. And that's why we love immunocologie because it's such a big help.
Well, thank you. And
Yeah.
no, I'll just bring up a bottle here just for everyone to see if they're not familiar with immunocology, what it looks like. But immunocology, that's exactly how I mean, I wanted to say to everyone, when we get chatting and we realize, and she's talking about inflammation and I'm talking about inflammation, I said, wait a minute, this is amazing. And Dr. Pecorelli was talking about how important the clay, and he was so amazed at immunocology is based on that theory of taking down inflammation to actually help the body heal itself, prepare
Correct.
itself from being inflamed to be anti-inflamed. And
Because the body is wise.
there we go. And it knows when it's sick and it knows when it's healthy, right? And,
Totally.
and so it's up to us to be able to, share that information. But I think the key to, even with inflammation on the skin, in the gut, right? So the gut has a lot to do, and you mentioned earlier about the skin's microbiome, but it's also the biome of the gut. And
Absolutely.
so, you're tying that together, and we may be talking physical therapy, we might be talking about breathing, but when we really come down to this, wellness for that wise woman is about, let's get that inflammation under control, right?
Yes. Yes.
And immunocology does do that through the topical use, but it's also because it has the French green clay in it.
Yes.
That French green clay is, yes, it is from France, as you know, and it does have the properties of taking down inflammation, and it has in it things like sulfur and iron and zinc and copper and magnesium, the things that not only
Minerals.
we want to drink, but those minerals that are important for our skin to be
Exactly.
absorbed in.
I mean, really, Karen, we're dealing with the Earth's soil is 95% mineral deficient.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
95% of the Earth's soil. So this is a global problem. And so
Yeah.
what's ending up happening is that we're not mineralized. So
Yes.
what is this large organ of the body can actually absorb it? So it's
Yeah.
another way for you to actually get a healthy dose of minerals. Now, maybe not enough of it, but
Yeah.
at least start there. But the main thing is the removal of the phthalates, the removal of some of these toxic chemicals. And it's just, when I was doing my research, when I, of course, was handling questions from my pregnant patients, and getting into the nitty gritty of dealing with this population and being able to answer things and going to courses and listening to things, when you do your homework and you realize that the laws are not there to protect you. So you can sit there and have something that says, oh, all natural, whatever, and then you see fragrance.
Right.
I mean, that's the dumping ground, because in our legislation, it has not been updated since the 50s. We literally have thousands of chemicals, new chemicals that we're bringing into the environment, that we're bringing into products. And so you have to be able to be a smart consumer.
Yes.
But no one has time. So
Right.
you have to kind of get that, understand the basics, and maybe say to yourself, wait a minute, I'm trying to, reduce inflammation in my body. I'm trying to feel good. I'm trying to eat well. So it's also what you put on your skin, because the number one way to reduce inflammation is exercise.
Right.
Yeah. And it also flushes your brain and kind of keeps you more sound,
Gets
all
the
of these
toxins
things.
when you sweat.
You sweat, you're getting it out. So you have to have healthy skin to even allow the sweat to come out and to actually, have that channel of
Yes.
release, right? So that's another part of it. So when you do take care of yourself, and you do take care, and there might be some women that are like, oh, I got 2 kids at this point, I'm ready for my next one, or I'm 3 kids in. What are you talking about? I have no time for this. It's simple, it's easy. Get it in your cabinet. You can get it delivered, just do it, and just change your routine and your ritual, because that is
It's a way of life.
Huge. Yeah. It comes back in dividends, right? Your health is wealth.
Well, and I think we always think of, I think sometimes we think of skincare as being more about the superficial, but you said it earlier, skin is the largest organ of the body. And because it is the largest organ of the body, what's important for us together as we do this is that we're treating that largest organ of the body kindly. And the skin has receptors, and the skin has memories. And the memory of the skin is it wants water and it wants oil. But if you're not putting water in that has any benefit to the skin, to the body, then it's basically a placebo for you. So what I wanted to do, and here you were over here looking and working on what you're working on, and I'm working on the inflammation over here. What I wanted to do is help the skin and absorb these minerals, because we do know that the largest organ of the body, these things are going somewhere. And I want to point out, and I think this is so important, and you found this with immunocology, that you can think about lots of cosmetics out there, and you're talking about fragrances like you said before, but when the body absorbs this over time, these ingredients have to be going somewhere. What we want to do is make sure that we prevent as much as possible that we don't have these toxins in the body. So I think
Absolutely.
what your teachings is to not only eat well, but be well by the whole process, which is the mind, the body, the soul, and also what you're doing for the exercise part of that mind, body, soul, and
Yeah.
treating it right.
And ultimately, Karen, I feel that when you think about, some people may say, all right, I'm going to get pregnant, or oopsie, I'm pregnant. I got to clean this stuff up, right? I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to this. I'm not going to have my raw fish. I'm not going to have my soft cheeses. Okay, those are the important things. But then they're kind of like, all right, I know I should eat healthy, but like all I want is crackers. And then, and so they're going to like this place of like balancing what my body's telling me and what I need, right? But
Yeah.
ultimately they are knowing that they need to make a change.
Yeah.
And sometimes what you're doing actually during pregnancy is you're actually flushing things out.
Yeah.
And so as you're cleaning, giving yourself a spring cleaning, so to speak, in your body, you have to remember that part of that cleaning and that nourishment, and to provide the ability for you to actually absorb the new things that are these healthy things that your body should be absorbing, you have to be able to clean it out. And so you're not detoxing during pregnancy. You're just slowly reducing your ingestion of inflammatory things, from foods to thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? We have thought viruses out there that are really inflaming to the body. So we have to also think about our mindset. We have to think about how are we breathing, because as we exhale, these things are coming out as well. Are we sweating through our dance or our exercise? And are we then nourishing the skin again without all these added things that, might have been okay, that are that are toxins. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the thing that's most concerning for me, is the amount of toxicity that we're putting into our body and we don't even realize it. And that's why, after having cancer myself 12 years ago, I realized, you know what, I have to eliminate as much as I possibly can of the toxicity that my body's going to be absorbing. And, my silver lining, or my window or light bulb, was I need to bring this clay water to all of you, so that you are detoxing the skin, but you're also not putting toxins into the body through the skin.
Right. It's kind of like you had a canister, let's say, and you were kind of filled close to the brim. You don't want it to spill over with all that inflammation and all those not so good stuff that you've been literally even breathing, right? Our indoor air quality is not good. We need air filtrations, all of these things. So you're going, oh, I'm going to take care of myself. And all of a sudden you're like getting that glass or that container to be a lot lower. What are you going to do then? Put a whole bunch of chemicals back in? No, so what is it that we can maybe use this time as a springboard for change, change for the better? So those people who don't understand what immunocology is, or what, where they should go, I think the information of the ingredients and how it is safe and what it does do and what it aims to, how it aims to support the skin is a big deal. But, a lot, I hate to say it, my patients then would say to me, oh, my skin is so different now. I just had a baby. I'm like all dry. I'm seeing these like pigments, there's so much change here. And I'm going to tell you that the number one thing that I tell everybody is that your collagen takes 18 months to adjust. and to reformulate. So when you have that relaxant through your body during pregnancy, think about it as like, this plastic time of a lot of movement and possibly injuries, right? And that's what we're here to prevent. But, you have more of this like, openness and this like flexibility and this like laxity. But then when it is going to slowly over the 18 months stiffen up again and get you back to kind of your normal sense, that's an opportunity. So if we can guide the collagen towards a certain way, you can change your posture.
Yeah.
You can change the skin's tone. You can change a lot of things, but it does need support and it does need some change, because if you're starting to see some negative changes, you got to kind of right the ship. Wrong road, got to get back on that right road. And so we need to be able to do that. But that's where some women have said to me, before I was pregnant, I had this injury, I thought it was going to be plagued for life, and then actually after my pregnancy, like, it's kind of gone.
Mm-hmm.
Now granted, they got support along the way, but we use that time to our advantage. Get them off that wrong road. The mechanics were so off and they were stuck in those patterns because of certain things that, the way they were supporting themselves. Now they found themselves with this openness to change. So we let go and we restart. So I like looking at postpartum not as a depressive time where you're like, oh my gosh, what does my body look like? What does my skin look like? Oh my gosh, this is terrible. I'm stressed out. Is my baby okay? Is my toddler okay? Did I get to work back on time? You've got all of these worries. And, if you have the support, you're less worried. When you have the support, you don't go into mental health issues that most women will. When you have the ability to return safely to movement is important, and to that point, 30 minutes of a walk every single day has been documented to start to make a change. So if you're listening and you're saying to yourself, I'm not an exercise person, I don't really move that much, I'm stuck and glued to my computer and I don't really like to do that much, and every time I try I hurt myself or it doesn't feel good, at least start with a 30-minute walk, preferably in nature. And you will get a lot of health benefits.
Advice. Yeah, that's so good.
And put on music. One more thing, or put on music, which is really beneficial to the baby, and its health, and start dancing around your house. You got you don't have time
about that in the book.
Exactly, we do talk about it. It's like a little aside. It's like just put on a couple of your favorite songs. And a lot of people say, well, isn't it supposed to be classical music for the brain? And actually, when you're listening to something that you love, you are getting those health benefits because you love it, and it stirs something inside of you. So I encourage people, and if you don't like to dance, it's fine. Just, do what you like. But if it's doesn't cost anything, you just do something and you kind of really, really, you have the triple threat. You've got music, you've got movement during dance, and you've got meditation, because you can't think of your to-do list when you're bopping to your favorite song. You just can't. Okay. So your brain is not crowded. It's just happy and in the moment and very present, and you're feeling yourself and the changes and whatever. And so it's definitely something that I love to share with my community, for sure.
Well, you certainly have covered all of the subjects. And again, I sometimes think this book is probably, you're very focused on wellness for pregnancy, but it's really also about wellness in your life. Right? I mean, when you think about that.
So I'm very inspired by our community at the Global Wellness Summit and the Global Wellness Institute. And, really it's about women and men during these years being the wellness ambassadors in their home. Because everything stems from the home. And if you can really amplify your lifestyle and how you're teaching your kids by example, right? You're doing all these wonderful things because you want to have a healthy baby. You got to stick with it. And then you have to show and really be that wellness ambassador. And what greater time for the rest of your life if you actually, I remember, between pregnancies, you're saying, oh, I'm finally stopped breastfeeding. I could have a glass of wine, and you're like, and then I was like, it doesn't feel so good to have like a bunch of these things. I don't have to go out and like, you're not going to party and it doesn't feel so good. Like one glass of wine is perfectly fine for me. I don't have to go to these extremes where I'm actually going into that boundary of inflammation again. And
Yeah.
that's going to have detrimental effects where you get a deadening of the feedback. But now you just cleaned yourself up, you feel good, and now you have this like chance to actually sense what that feels like and the sharp difference. Wow,
Yeah.
it's 11 o'clock and I can keep going PM. You know, I feel like I have all this energy because you're not as inflamed. So holding on to those like wellness practices that you've adopted that have made your baby be healthy, that have made you feel good during pregnancy and after, and have made you, frankly, a better mom and better dad. And now you can be that wellness ambassador for your children. Think about that. If every person in their home decided that they were going to be that wellness ambassador, they're making, then all of a sudden the next person in your community is saying, oh, you know, what's Patricia doing with her family? They seem to be doing really well. You know, everybody got sick this time with the flu. We didn't. You know, these are amazing, amazing things. And so I encourage everybody to be the wellness ambassador and spread the love and spread the word about all these wonderful things you can do, because you've hit that reset button during this reproductive years. You really did.
You know, I want to say that in talking with young women, I always try to encourage them to reach out to you, because before the book came out, the only way they could really learn about this is through the first 1,000 days. But this is going to be a great way to be able to offer to them a great, not only a book, but also the lessons that you share with them in the book. And I think the fact that you have come full circle, that you're not just talking about how to do, you're showing them how to do in the book as well.
Yeah.
Not all books do that. But also, I love the fact that we were able to come together to talk about the outer layer of the body, the skin. And, you know, I find when we talk about the outer layer of the body, the skin, the largest organ, which we mentioned a moment ago, you know, we talk about collagen and our age, when we get to 35, there is a slowing down of that collagen, and that's where aging starts to happen. But we have a thing called preventive care and corrective care in the skincare world to slow down that process. It's the same thing, as you know, in working out. You can stay healthy if you work out. If you don't work out, you don't stay so healthy and your body stays more inflamed. Well, the same thing with skin. If you don't do anything to your skin and you think, oh, I'm 20 years old, or I'm 30 years old, I don't need to do anything, it does catch up with you.
Yes.
And I think the way that you've actually brought this into the book and understanding inflammation is the way, taking down inflammation is a healthy way for the whole body, for the skin included, being the largest organ.
Yeah. And I think the number one thing that we have to remember is that we feel our best, we do our best, and our children and our fetus develops the best when we, the mom and the dad, feel supported. And so what ends up happening when we're sitting here in this conversation, we're talking about the why, that, and really it's about supporting also the skin, and how do you support its function to stay as fresh as it can be, as optimal as it can be. And prevention has been the name of the game since I started physical therapy, and has always been in my blood. And so that's where, you say to yourself, like, I wish I had this book, because I would have been on a better road, maybe even. And how can we, address the changes that occur? So like when we are postpartum, we have drier skin. We need to change things around. We need to really get that exfoliation going more. If you're not doing that, it's not just like, oh, I came out of the shower, I put some stuff on my face and great, I have this cleanser to get my makeup off, and then I just put a little moisturizer and I'm great. There's other things that we need to do to improve that, And I love the, the mist, right?
Yes.
It's like, I literally like, after a day of patience, and especially like, into my 40s now, it's like, you need to rehydrate. And I'm always talking, okay, you got to hydrate, you got to drink your water. And now also with the masks, forget it. And so we really, really need to have certain things to support us through that journey. And the last thing I did want to say is, when it comes to first 1,000 days, while we're working with practitioners, medical practitioners. We're working with, getting the information out to the public, and working with spa and really changing wellness programs to really
Yes.
address this time in your life so that you can know the products, you can know you can experience different things that you should be adopting, and get the right self-care during these times. Not only that, we have this public health arm through the Global Wellness Institute. And I chair the Perinatal Initiative. It's basically a perinatal wellness initiative called the First 1,000 Days, just because so many people love that, all of the body of knowledge around the first 1,000 days, and has been the leader in this, for sure. So the First 1,000 Days is an initiative with the Global Wellness Institute that's actually public health. So this is free information. It's out on the web that you can just go and download, just like a cheat sheet of like key things, key wellness lifestyles that you can just adopt like tomorrow, that will make a difference. And the addressing of the partner and the partner's health, or your sperm donor's health, who, is 70% of the equation for your baby being healthy or not. I mean, we need to be giving a megaphone out there of this information. Like, God, did you get the memo? Like, really important to remember that. So these are the things that we're so passionate about, to spread this knowledge. Like I said, there's very tangible information in the book, to be guiding you every step of the way, like that passing down of information that the tribal women used to do. The women would come and, help you at every stage, and you always, always, always had support. This is not the time to be the alpha. I'm going to do it all myself.
You need support. Well, and I think that's where this guide comes in. You're a wise woman. You are a wise woman.
And you, the person listening, is the wise woman. Absolutely.
And I think,
to trust your wise intuition. Right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I'll give you one example, right? There's someone, let's say, with Irish descent, okay? And they had a lot of potatoes growing in Ireland, and they lived on a lot of potatoes, right? But then someone in Europe—
that might be my side of the family.
There you go. But then someone in Southern Europe never saw potato until like maybe the 1960s. Okay. And now they're starting to eat potatoes, but the potatoes for the person down there actually are inflammatory, because their whole genetic makeup, their epigenetics, their biome, are not really understanding what this thing is, because nobody in their hierarchy here and the hereditary background they're not wired for that. Just like people are wired for rice in Asian countries. And if you have too much rice and you're of a different culture that never saw rice before, you get inflamed by it. So there are nuances. It's not just, everybody that's a human being on this earth should eat the same exact food because of their health properties. You should eat seasonally, and you should eat the stuff that maybe your little picture. I'm an advocate of the Mediterranean diet because it's more multi-diverse, but you're basically dealing with a very balanced thing. But always think, and nowadays we have all sorts of genetic, testing that you can do that costs hardly anything, that you can kind of get a sense for, well, let's see what's like where my parents are from, because nobody knows anything anymore, because we're so many generations, this, that, the other. So I think it's a very important thing to remember that inflammation looks different for everyone, and everyone has their own recipe for success. But generally speaking, this commonality of this foundation of what are the vitamins and minerals that everybody does need. That's key. But then what are we eating and how we're moving? It is variable, right? So that's why I give variety of things that you can be doing for exercise, and certain, but there are certain foundational principles of like, I need this muscle to be really strong when I'm pregnant. That's like, just like you need B12 when you're pregnant, so there's like key ingredients there that are absolutely for everyone. And then there's the other parts that we have to trust our wise intuition. When someone reads a book and they're like, you should just eat like rice every single day because it is like the best grain for you when you're, pregnant. And someone else tries to eat it and says, oh my gosh, I don't feel so good. You need to listen to that wise intuition, because you're probably right. Right.
Well, it just continues, that wise woman, wise intuition, right? When you first gave me the name, and I said, that is brilliant. So it will continue.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled over how it all came out. I have to say, it's just, you say to yourself, there's sometimes you go on a journey and it just, these things start to happen and you're like, wow, that kind of came together,
Well, when you first talked about you're going to write a book about this, and you say, I wonder when that's going to happen, right? An inner spare time that you don't have. And when you say,
Right.
I wrote it, it's done. I'm like going, in what spare time did you have
I
that? So,
know, I know.
and see
And
it
it
come
was an
to life.
inspiration for, I've totally revamped my practice, my physical therapy practice, as I said before, I've been doing this for 22 years. And I had my one practice for 14 years. And now I've totally revamped everything. And it's Wise Body. So
Oh,
it's Wise Body physical therapy because we're getting you to move wisely,
art. Oh my
with
goodness.
fluidity, strength, and tensegrity in your body. So
Yes.
that's the physical therapy practice
Well,
aspect.
your phone is going to be ringing off the hook because I think people today are so in tune. I mean, for the most part, to say, I need this, but where do I go? And once they know about this book and know about you, it's going to be phenomenal because
And
you
I,
really,
I was very big stickler about keeping it affordable. It's not something that's going to break the bank, and you're going to get a lot of information
oh yeah,
because
I
I
know
did
it's
glean from
very
all of these
affordable.
amazing experts, not just me, and not just from Dr. Sadati, all sorts of wonderful people who have written books with Nobel Peace Prize winners, and just amazing, curated, content. Yeah.
Well, this is why I feel very honored that I am part of this with you because I mean what you've done to get here and to share with not only your population of patients and amazing people that touch your life, but the ones that really need to find you
Mm.
to be part of this journey with you. I am so honored to be able to be part of it and to share this with you and know that we are of like mind this way too, and wanting to help those out there to help themselves and give them that guidance, give them that information. And one of the things that I did, and I'm going to just quickly show you this, and we're going to show more of this, but I just want to show you because one of the things that Patricia and I came together to say, what do we think is a good methodology to help women who are going through pregnancy and keep it simple? And this is for sensitive skin because during pregnancy, not all skin is the same, but there are sensitivities. So I put together a personalized program for sensitive skin, and that would include 4 products. So it makes it very simple, very easy for you. We also have trial sizes with that as well. And we are very particular about what is going to be best for you prior to getting pregnant, what would be great to be using during pregnancy, and what to do after pregnancy. And it doesn't mean that because now that you're not pregnant, you don't need to take care of your skin. And it doesn't mean that you have to start using a lot of chemicals on your skin after pregnancy. The better thing to do is to stay and get away from those toxins now, whether you're pregnant or whether you're going to be pregnant or after pregnancy. Get the toxins out of your body and not put them on your body through your skin.
Exactly. And, I think we are so busy and we're
Yeah.
so, especially these wise women listening, they're very smart, and trying to kind of get it all in real quick. And, here's some really important content and we could get this done. So it will be easy for them on the site, right? To just
Yeah.
say, okay, am I pregnant? Okay, these are the things. And
Yeah.
if I'm postpartum mom, these are the things. And kind of,
That's,
and in the book, it actually says like exactly how to use certain
yeah.
things and what the protocol should be, just generically. Yeah.
I was just going to, I was going to say, so here it is, just step 1, which is the cleanser, right? Cleanser. And then you have your mist. And as Patricia was talking about using this to hydrate the skin, also a great free radical. Yep, there you go. One for you, one for me. Drink for the skin. So the mist, you can take it with you all day long. Mist when you need to. And I'll tell you, if you have any kind of hot flashes, things like that, great to cool down as well. Great to also put it onto spray it onto your hands if you've been doing a lot of hand sanitizers. Helps to coat the hand and help to protect the hand as well and hydrate. So if you don't want to have sticky, heavy creams, the water, our clay water, which is our vital ionic mist, will do that for you. But I also want to tell you, a drink for the skin is your hyaluronic, let's pump that skin with some water. Add that to your regimen. And again, this is for the sensitive skin and your day protection, which you could use at night as well. But we put this together for you so that you'd have a very simple routine. It's like throw out all those toxins and let's keep it simple. Get your life into a place where it's toxic free, also mind, body, and soul toxic free. Think positive thoughts as well. And as we do that, I think one of the things that we're going to, I mean, I know that it's important for both of us, is that we want to be able to collaborate on this, to share this with you. So Patricia will be having these things on her site. We're going to, over at Immunocologie, have this over on our site, where we're actually going to have an area of pregnancy, and that is on the 3 different phases, right? And to be able to put these routines together, like you just said,
Exactly,
to help you through that. Because we even have the body serum. You can see that. I don't know if it might be a little, but this is great on your belly. So, and then we have the Super 7, which is also an amazing product for, yes, for skin repair, for stretch marks, and safe for you to use while you're pregnant, of course, after you're pregnant. But it is one that is going to help the skin in the anti-aging side of that, with inflammation, at the same time repair the skin. So I want to make sure that we see this as we bring this together, and Patricia and myself come together. We really have been thoughtful about how we can bring together the whole body wellness. And that's what really makes wise women come together for you, Patricia, because it was just such a thoughtful way of being able to bring 2 words together that mean so much in our wellness community. And so I'm excited to have this on immunocologie.com and be able to have you on immunocologie.com, because that's going to help so many women who come to our site, be it they may be in their 20s or the 30s, 40s and above. You don't have to be pregnant to do good skincare. But what is important is that if you are going through this part of your life, know that we're here to help, right?
Yeah, and if you're having also issues getting pregnant, that's the time to clean out everything, and even more the reason to really have a take an inventory of what am I putting on my skin? What am I thinking about? How am I exercising? Am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? And what's my toxic exposure? Do I have an air filtration system? What am I sleeping on? What am I wearing? There's a lot of things there. And then also EMFs, so there's all of that stuff is discussed, but when we really, it's about giving you the information so that you can really connect with that wise intuition inside of you. And you know what? This should resonate for you. And when you put this on, you're like, oh, now I get what they're talking about, really? Because then you realize, and then if you don't, maybe it's not right for you. But the main thing here is that you're here, you're stepping up and you're saying, okay, I'm going to be here to change for the better. And actually I'm going to feel so much better. I'm going to be healthier, and everything in my life will probably change for the better. So my information is patricialadis.com. Everything is there. Links to how to buy the book. The book is available on Target, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, as well as multiple other sites. And then,
you can buy the products on your site too.
And you can buy the products. There's a link right there to go right to Immunocologie, and you're going to look for pregnancy or postpartum on their toolbar there. And then we'll be doing some more information specifically to support this population, just kind of snippets of little, Instagram, little lives that we can kind of maybe hone into exactly what we would like for you to do, and maybe give a little tutorial as well. So that'll be fun.
That would be fun. I think it'd be really nice to do an Instagram live sometime where people can actually ask live questions at that time as well, back and forth.
But this was really fun. Thank you so much, Karen.
Well, thank you, Patricia. This has been such a delight. And I always like to end with, so as we leave each other today, give me one thought that comes to mind that you can share with our audience here, and I'll give you the floor.
Really, we have to be lighter. We're in a time right now where there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of, heartache. There's a lot of just upheaval. Yeah. And I think, the antidote is really love. And the antidote is, to take a step back and not let anyone tarnish your inner peace. So we want to be peaceful, and the pathway towards that is actually love and acceptance. So, understanding that this is a place where we're open, that we can support each other, that, we may have differences, but we're all here together. And ultimately, when you love yourself and you love others, that's how we can then, be the example that we want to see in others and see in the world. And so, I think this is the time now. We're generally careful about pregnant women. It's very rare that you're going to yell at a pregnant woman. And, I think we have to really think about that and stay in that, loving, embracing, peaceful embodiment.
Well, thank you so much. So beautiful. That's so, so beautiful. Well, again, thank you so much. And, with positive thoughts, you get positive
Yeah.
results, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So until I see you next time, I wanted to say thank you again. I just love you. You are just such a delight. And I just like hugs.
Thank you.